In our last series, we had Anthony Turner attend the studio. Anthony talked to us about the 5 pillars for success, and today he's returning to the studio to give us greater details on each of the pillars.
Thanks, David. Happy to be here to have a talk about the 5 pillars for success. As I said in the previous interview, what we've found is over the years of working with many different business owners from all sorts of backgrounds, we find that there's 2 most common reasons why the majority of them fail to reach their full potential. Now, the first reason is typically because they either haven't got clear goals or they've lost sight of the goals of why they were going into business in the first place. The second reason is because they don't really understand what is going on in their businesses. And by that I mean that they turn up every day, they do the work every day, but they're not really understanding the numbers of things that make it tick, which is why we created the 5 pillars for success. Now, the first one of those pillars is to know where you are. Typically what this means is being cognizant all of the time in relation to all of the various aspects of things that are happening in and around your business. So it means getting very clear about, what are your individual strengths, what are your challenge areas, how do you actually negate those things? And we've got a number of different tools that we use, which are personal and business type analysis to actually help you go through that process, and we're happy to make those available for you. The other areas that you've got to consider is what's happening in your environment, in your local environment. What's happening with your staff. So let's start with in the business itself. So you may have staff. What's happening in their lives? Are they having sort of a family breakdown or something like that could actually impact on their customer service or their workload and how they do things professionally? Are there things happening in your community? Is your community sort of in a bit of a downward trend? And this often happens in regional areas, we find, is where the communities are a bit hard pressed. There's been a drought for 3 years, so the businesses in town are not doing as well. All of these things can actually have an impact on your business. And as a business owner, you've got to understand what those impacts are likely to be, but more importantly, then you've got to start working out how you are going to actually negate those things, how you're going to build on your strengths, and then also how you're going to actually respond to the various opportunities that may be available to you to actually grow and develop your business, either through diversification or through doing something quite different. So there's a whole range of different opportunities that are there available for you. It's a matter of sitting down and understanding what those are, and this comes from the key element, pillar number 1, of knowing where you are. Now, as I said before, one of the key elements is that most people who fail to reach their full potential are not clear about their direction, where they're going to go, how they're going to get there, and why they're in business and doing things, which leads us on to pillar number 2, which is about knowing where you are going. Give you an example. Think about a child who's just started with little aths. They may have in their mind that they're looking to be an Olympic gold medalist. That may be their aim. And it doesn't matter what discipline they're doing in little aths. They will get up in the morning, they will do their training, they will go to the local meets, they will in the town, then they might go to the area championships, then they go to the national championships, and as they get stronger, they might go to the international championships, and it's a building process. And the same is true of your business. It is a building process from where you have started from to where you would like to get to go. But the key thing is missing, as I said before, is that probably around about 95% of businesses we've found have no real clear definition of what that Olympic gold medal looks like for their business. So the first thing you've got to think about as a business owner is, what do I want to achieve for my business? Why am I in business? How is my business going to impact our family, our friends, our lifestyle? Am I building a business to actually sell it? Am I building a business to hand it over to my children in the future? And no matter what the decision is that you make and what the outcome is that you're looking for, you are then in the position to actually create what we call is the big picture for your business, as we see on the screen. The big picture is exactly this. This is the gold medal. This is the goal that you're going to go for. Now, it's true that that goal may change over time, because once you get to a certain level, you will actually build and move on to something else. There may be new opportunities come forward. We understand this. So it's not set in concrete, but this is the fundamental direction and goal that you're taking for your business as of this point in time. Now, one of the key things that I find often happens is that once individuals have developed a big picture for their business, is a thing called mind snap. And this is where we cannot conceive from where we are now how we will actually grow into the business that we are. And then what happens is that all the little mind chatter goes on in the head. This is all the elements to turn around and say, oh, we're not good enough. Who do you think we are? Why should we do that? Etc., etc. And it breaks the objective down and kills the passion for doing it even before you ever get started. So let's assume that you've worked out a way you can control the mind chatter and you come up with a goal. We've now got two valuable pieces of information. And the first one of those is we know where we are. And the second one is we know what our final picture is going to look like to where we achieve. What we've now got to do is break this down into meaningful chunks so that it becomes an action plan. And the way that we do this, I suggest, is think about, you're going to go on a trip by car from, say, Melbourne to Brisbane. If we're going to go via Sydney, most people would agree that Sydney is about halfway. And this is one of the fundamental things we do with our big goal is from where we are now, is we look and say, well, what's our halfway? And then depending on whether you're going, via the coast or whether you're going on the inland route from Sydney to Brisbane, you can sort of work out what is your quarter way and what is your 3/4 way points. Because once you've actually established what these are, all we have to do as a business owner is keep our mind on the big picture of where we are looking to get to, but more importantly, what we've got to do is work on how we're going to get from where we are now to the next level. And work out all of the action points that we have to do to get through to that space. Once we've got there, we can tick the box. And then we can work on the action points to take us up to level 3, and subsequently to level 4, and then up to level 5 to fulfill the goal. What then happens is this is not the end in terms of goal, because once you've achieved the goal, then we ask the question, because what is the new goal going to be? Because your final picture that you've just achieved becomes your new now, and you start the process all over again about how you are going to develop and grow your business. In subsequent videos, we're going to talk about the other 5 pillars, which is decide your income, number 3, tell the world, which is your marketing one, and the last one is to manage, succeed rather than avoid failure.